My name is Aušrinė. I am from Klaipėda in Lithuania. I am studying in LCC International University. My major is theology and I am 21 years old.
So my name is Jana, I'm 20, I'm from Ukraine. I studied at LCC International University here in Klaipėda. My major is English language and literature, and I've been here for exactly a year.
How easy it was for you to adapt to the international context?
It was really interesting. At first it was kind of weird that I had to speak in English with almost everyone in the university, especially because also all of my professors were either Americans or Canadians, and very small amount were actual Lithuanians. So speaking in English everywhere, like in the classes, in the corridors, in dorms with all the people, it was a bit of a learning curve at first, but then I got used to it. But it was definitely interesting seeing all these kind of like different people. Before I met British people or American people, but now meeting Ukrainians, Albanians, Georgians, Russians, and so many other people from different countries. It was really like there were some really interesting experiences with like the way they talk or how they communicate, and especially like I have one friend who is just in her culture to maybe not reply, for example, to text as often, and like sometimes it would take me like a good amount of time until she would reply, and I would be like, okay, so it's like, is that just you? Is that your country, or is that something else? But yeah, it was really. It was something definitely new that I haven't experienced, but it was a really happy experience because I got to know so many new amazing people which interact in different ways and have so many different traditions, or what they eat or how they speak or what they like, and yeah, I really enjoyed that.
How easy it was for you to adapt to the local context?
In Lithuania it's quite hard to get homesick. You go outside and it reminds you of home almost everywhere. Here you have a lot of small national places, and I could easily go and find something Ukrainian, even being in the middle of Klaipėda. So anytime I feel homesick, I just need to go outside, look around, and that's it, done.
What are the main cultural differences that you came across in the new environment?
It was interesting to see all these people with, well, all of their cultural backgrounds and their traditions and the way they see this environment, and kind of clash, like having it clash with mine. So there were definitely, yeah, many different interesting experiences with that. I especially loved how in our uni we had cultural days where we could experience a different culture on a day, or maybe two different cultures on that day, and see like maybe their national dish, or like what kind of jokes they like to do, or just because students would organize those, so it would be interesting to see from their perspective how do they represent their country. So definitely interesting to even know the traditional backgrounds of like how traditionally would they dress, and how would traditionally, like what the manners would be, or how would they speak. And in one of my classes called interpersonal communication, I had many different students from different countries, and we would talk about communication, how to communicate, and what is usually accepted in their culture or in their country. And it was really interesting to see that people communicate in different ways. For example, how in Japan you almost would never, as I remember, I hope it's true, that you would never like speak I don't know, like against someone who's like older, or you would almost never like really show your true emotions, or how you truly like in conversations, or your true intentions. You would always be very, very polite in all the ways you speak, and that's also very similar in some like British context, or even American sometimes. And just interesting to know how all of these things are so different, and how all these people from different contexts come into LCC, and how we all try to communicate, but sometimes we miss the mark. But then we learn along the way who is like what, and where is that coming from, where are those things coming from. So yeah, it was an interesting experience.
What are the main cultural differences that you came across in the new environment?
Probably it's the people. It's the first time I came here, I was kind of scared. My first encounter was the bus driver, who appeared to be kind of mad, but he was just trying to help, which he did in a tone that appeared to be quite mad. He wasn't actually mad. Yeah, but you get used to it. So people talk loudly. People are very tall comparing to Ukraine. A lot of Lithuanians are really tall and you have to look up to them like, hello.
How did your social life change?
It didn't change as much because in LCC there's still a lot of Lithuanians, so I would still speak to a lot of my Lithuanian friends that I had before or find new ones. But it was interesting to get to know a lot of these other people from different countries. One of the things was that if I really need to find them, the only way I could contact them was through Messenger, because I realized I don't have anybody's phones, or they don't even have SIM cards, or they don't really use their phone. So it just happens that either that person has to be online or you have to go find them in the university. So that was a bit of something in the communication that changed. But it was, yeah, like in the social life, I started hanging out in LCC much more than someone who would only study there and not live there. Like I would hang out in people's rooms, I would go have like cook lunch together, go like bake a pie, bake some cookies, I don't know, hang out, or we would, with all LCC friends, we would go somewhere to some kind of place. And I started, like I really like showing things to people who have never experienced it before. So I would be like, let's go, I want to show you this place and this place and this place and this place because I really love them and you haven't seen it, so you will be really excited too. So that was one of my favorite things, to just show new things. Or every time something very national would be happening, I would invite my friends, like, okay, who wants to go to see the Christmas tree being lit up, or who wants to go to the light festival because it's new and you haven't seen it and it's really nice, and it's one of the only things that we have in Klaipėda that is fun, especially if you don't count summer. So yeah, so my social life, I guess, changed to showing more of my favorite places to more new people, which I love, and just hanging out with a bunch of different kind of people, which I also really love because I got to experience their cultures too.
How did your social life change?
Well, social life has changed a lot as well. You have to get out, you have to try to speak the language you don't speak, and you fail miserably a lot of times until you find yourself a friend who speaks Lithuanian and you're like, do the talking. But it's challenging, in a good way challenging. You come and the first phrase you learn is "Aš nekalbu lietuviškai." And that's your favorite phrase. Even now, being here for a year, that's still my favorite phrase. I use it 25 times a day. Aš nekalbu lietuviškai. Even though not being aware, you still pick up the phrases and you can kind of understand what people say, but since you're lazy, you just say "Aš nekalbu lietuviškai." So yeah, you get new friends, you get a different perspective of culture, because even though Ukraine and Lithuania are kind of close, but the cultures are still different and people are different. And when I went home after being here for like half a year or so, it was like coming somewhere where I have never been before, because, you know, I do the things I got accustomed here, I do the socializing the way I got accustomed to do it here. And then at home, everyone expects me to do the Ukrainian way, and I don't quite can't do it anymore that well. So that's it.